The streets of Cameroon are on fire right now, and I don't mean that as a figure of speech. We are talking real anger, real chaos, real danger. And as of yesterday, October 27th, we have an official election result that's only made everything worse. So here's what happened. October 12th, 2025, more than 8 million Cameroonians showed up to cast their ballots. A lot of them thought maybe, just maybe, this time things will be different. Issa Chiroma, he's 76 years old. He used to work for the government for about 2 decades and turned around and became the main opposition challenger. 2 days after the vote, he came out and declared himself the winner. His message was simple. The people have spoken, and Biya, who is 92 years old, the world's oldest head of state, he has been running this country for more than 43 years. He needs to step aside. But yesterday, October 27th, the Constitutional Council made it official. Clement Atangana, president of the council, stood up in Yaoundé and declared Biya the winner with about 53.6% of the vote. Chiroma got 35% of the vote. Just like that, Biya got his 8th term. And what followed, it has been devastating. Before the announcement, protests had already broke out in Douala, Garoua, Yaoundé, Maroua. Young people flooding the streets, blocking roads with burning tires, demanding their vote get respected. Security forces, of course, came back with tear gas, water cannons, live bullets. In Garoua, there's a 30-year-old teacher. She got shot dead. She wasn't even protesting. She was just walking home from work. About 30 opposition leaders and activists have been arrested as I speak to you, accused of planning some kind of insurrection. Right when things were boiling over, the government pulled the plug on the internet, cut millions of Cameroonians off the rest of the world. The day before the official announcement, October 26th, 4 more protesters got killed in Douala, making it 5 people now dead, just for the 92-year-old man to remain in office. He is basically sacrificing young Cameroonians for his own selfish ambition. Now, security forces opened fire on thousands of people who were defying the protest bans. That brings the confirmed death toll to at least 5 as of right now. With Biya officially declared the winner, Cameroon is standing at a crossroad and the world is watching. In this episode, we are going to dive deep into how Cameroon exploded into this nationwide protest, why a government that just got declared the winner is out here shooting its own citizens, and what this whole moment means for democracy across Africa. Let's get into it. Right now, and I mean right now, this minute, young people all across Cameroon are flooding the street with one demand. This election was stolen. 2 weeks after election day, 1 day after the official results, the country is on fire, not with celebration, but with rage. Douala, Garoua, Maroua, city after city is erupting. People are blocking roads, burning tires, chanting the same thing over and over. Our votes were not respected. But for Biya's government, they just declared the victory. They are shooting anyone who says otherwise. In Douala, that's Cameroon's economic capital, we have hundreds of protesters out there barricading roads with whatever they can find, waving Cameroonian flags, rejecting what the Constitutional Council just announced. Security forces roll up full riot gear, hit them with tear gas, water cannons. Crowds still won't back down. Cameroonians, they refuse to accept this fraud. Now, the day before the announcement on October 26th, 4 people got killed in Douala when security forces opened fire. That brings the confirmed death to at least 5. In Garoua, Chiroma's hometown up in the far north is even more intense. The whole city is being locked down. Military everywhere. Chiroma himself went on X, accusing security forces of firing on civilians. And he was right. He said 2 people got killed in his hometown. His words, shooting point blank at your own brothers. I can't help but wonder if you are mercenaries. Just kill me if you want, but I will liberate this country by any means necessary. What blatant impunity. This is according to the opposition candidate, Issa Chiroma. Now, This is the center of everything right now. And anger over poverty are being ignored for decades, and is what is driving this. The far north got a poverty rate of over 69%, highest in the country. For years, people up north have felt like the government doesn't just care about them, like they've been left behind while the capital gets everything. Now, they are saying the election was rigged, that Chiroma actually won it. They want the truth acknowledged. Yaoundé, the capital, we have got demonstrations going on even though there is heavy police deployment and they have banned public gatherings. In Maroua, protesters clashing with security forces who are throwing tear gas to break things up. In other cities and across Cameroon, motorcyclists are flooding the roads because on October 25th, they blocked all the traffic, demanding a re-election process. In another city in Cameroon, somebody set a ruling party office on fire. Now, that footage went everywhere on social media. These aren't organized political rallies we are talking about. These are spontaneous explosions of frustration from a generation that has never known another president. Young Cameroonians, most of them under 30, they are organizing through social media. Hashtags like Cameroon Election 2025, Youth in Cameroon. Now, their message is straightforward and is heartbreaking. We want change. I've known one president my entire life since I was born. We need someone else. October 14, Issa Chiroma went on Facebook and declared himself the winner of the election. He said he won based on what his team counted from 80% of the polling stations. Now, the ruling party officials called his claims baseless and inflammatory. But these protesters, they are not backing down. They say they were there at the polling stations. They know what they voted for. They know who they voted for, and it is not for Biya. And now that the Constitutional Council has declared Biya the winner with 53.6%, they are saying it's fraud. They are saying it's rigged. Now, government called them troublemakers, called them terrorists, told them to go home. But Cameroon's youth kept marching, kept filming, kept putting their truth out there for everyone to see. So, Biya's regime did what dictators do when they are losing control of the story. They pulled the plug and threw the whole country into digital darkness. Then came October 23rd, 2025. All across Cameroon, phones, they stopped loading. Social media went dark. News websites froze halfway through articles. NetBlock, that's the global organization that monitors internet stuff, they confirmed what millions of Cameroonians already knew. Their government just cut off connectivity across the country. And the timing is way too perfect to be a coincidence. This happened just 4 days before they were going to announce Biya as the winner. The disruption hit both mobile networks and landlines. We are talking nationwide impact. It was so bad, it even messed up connectivity in neighboring Central African Republic and Congo. The government story, they are saying is a technical problem with some undersea cables. But come on, look at the timing. October 23rd is the same day the Constitutional Council threw out all 8 petitions challenging the election. Same day, they cleared the way to announce results on October 27th. Same day, opposition voices needed to coordinate, communicate, rally people, and that's the day the internet just happens to go down. Now, this isn't even Cameroon's first time doing this, because back in 2017, during the Anglophone separatist crisis, the government shut down internet in the northwest and southwest regions for months. It's a playbook move at this point. When the truth gets too dangerous, cut the internet, control what people can see and say. Youth protesters fired back immediately with the hashtag Bring Back Our Internet, though getting that out there requires VPNs and all kinds of workarounds. In some neighborhoods, young people hit the street specifically to protest the internet being cut, demanding their right to talk to the outside world be respected. Now, digital rights groups condemned it. Paradigm Initiative put out a statement saying these disruptions mess with communication, news coverage, people's access to basic services. International concern is also growing because US Congressman Jonathan Jackson's warning about internet blockages and crackdowns on protesters amplified this growing concern. Another congressman, Gregory Mix, said he is concerned about this report and that it is critical the election outcomes is transparent and reflect what the people of Cameroon actually wanted. But inside Cameroon, the blackout is doing exactly what it is supposed to do. Government-controlled state media becomes the main source of news. Independent journalists can't get their stories out. Families can't talk to each other across cities. Businesses are getting hit. And most importantly, the world's view of what is actually happening inside Cameroon gets chopped up, incomplete. Some protesters are still managing to use VPNs to share footage. Tear gas, roadblocks, security forces doing what they are doing. But the flow of information is being choked. The government controls the entire narrative now. And in that digital darkness, something even worse was coming. The internet disruption was just the beginning, because while Cameroonians were struggling to communicate, security forces were getting ready for their next move, a deadly crackdown that would take innocent lives and push this country even closer to the edge. Now, the first victim of this election violence that is currently going on in Cameroon is the 30-year-old teacher. This happened on October 21st. She left work and started walking home, not to join any protest, just to find her sister who hadn't come back from school. She never made it. According to neighbors, a police officer shot her point blank, and her death became this devastating symbol of just how far the government is willing to go. October 21st in Garoua, security forces were deployed all over the city with orders to shut down demonstrations. The teacher wasn't protesting. Now neighbors, family members, they all confirmed she was just walking home from work, trying to get through her own neighborhood while all this chaos was going on. She's looking for her sister, worried because she didn't come home from school, and then she got shot. Now this is the first confirmed death of the post-election violence. Not a protester throwing rocks, not an activist blocking roads, a teacher just walking home, just existing in a city that had turned into a conflict zone. What her family said is heartbreaking. Her uncle said her death leaves him with this painful memory of the regime. Just like so many other Cameroonians, the government tried to shift the blame at first. Officials suggesting civilians were responsible or that media is spreading lies. But her family knows what happened. The neighbors know. Everyone in Garoua knows. Her funeral turned into this rallying point for grief and rage. People saying if they can kill a teacher just walking home, they can kill any of us. It went from a political fight to something deeper. A fight for survival, for the basic right to exist without getting shot by your own government. Now, but the teacher wasn't the only one, because on October 20th and 21st, Minister Atanga Nji announces at least 20 more arrests, start warning about an insurrectional movement. Threats escalate fast. People who got arrested, they are going to face military tribunals on charges of insurrection, inciting rebellion, outrageous charges. Now, the government's whole narrative shifts from election dispute to national security crisis. Protesters aren't citizens demanding their vote count anymore. They are being labeled terrorists plotting violence. Atanga Nji, this notorious minister, he went even further, said several people got arrested during that week on suspicion of planning violent attacks disguised as protest. Now, this minister, Atanga Nji, note his name because tomorrow he might come out as an opposition candidate and claim he now wants to fight for the Cameroonians people. We have seen this before. These are people that should be blacklisted when this regime, when it's all said and done. Now, according to him, this minister, the plan was to infiltrate group of protesters, commit terrorist attacks, get people killed, classic authoritarian playbook, call dissent terrorism, justify violence by saying you are defending yourself, arrest anyone who questions the official story. Now, while the teacher was being laid to rest and her family was mourning, security forces were moving to take out opposition leadership. October 24th, Daola, forces surrounded the homes of prominent opposition leaders. By morning, they are all being in custody, and everyone is asking, who is next? October 24th in Douala, armed forces came down on opposition strongholds all over the city. Their targets are the leaders of the Maniden Party and key figures in the Union for Change movement. Within hours, the party leaders were in custody. By October 26th, about 30 opposition politicians and activists had been arrested and detained. What they are being accused of? Insurrection. What they actually did? Support for Chiroma's claim that he won the election. Now, the arrests were coordinated, systematic. The leaders of Manidem, that's the African Movement for New Independence and Democracy, one of the loudest opposition voices out there, got arrested along with his party treasurer, a prominent guy in the Union for Change movement, detained by security forces. Now, opposition came out immediately condemning it. Manidem put out a statement calling these kidnappings designed to scare Cameroonians who are waiting for the real results. Union for Change calling them abusive arrest with one clear goal: intimidate people waiting for the election results to be respected. But the government story is clear and it is disturbing. Minister Atanga Nji says these arrests were made because of what he's calling an insurrectional movement. He's claiming these people were planning violent attacks disguised as protests. They are going to infiltrate these groups, commit terrorism attacks, get people killed. It's calculated. Blame opposition figures ahead of time for any violence, justify locking them up. Then Chiroma dropped something big. He posted on Facebook questioning the government. They refused your proposals and now you arrest them. He asked, so when you were trying to negotiate with them, they weren't terrorists. That tells you something. Government officials had been trying to negotiate with these opposition figures before they arrested them. Here is the thing though. June Africa, that's a major publication. They ran an exclusive report on October 24 saying President Biya offered Issa Chiroma the position of Prime Minister in the days after the October 12 election. The report says the offer came over that weekend when tensions were mounting. Chiroma turned it down according to the report, saying the people have already chosen him. October 26th, Chiroma defies all the warnings and threats, called for this nationwide protest starting on Sunday. Thousands of Cameroonians showed up. 4 people get killed in Douala when security forces open fire. Crisis gets deeper. So here's where we are at. While security forces were rounding up opposition leaders, reports came out that the government had been making offers. Drop your claims, join the administration. They reportedly said no. But what if similar talks are happening with Chiroma himself? What if the guy who declared himself the winner is being given a choice? Take a role in Biya's government or face what is coming. Now, this is classic authoritarian strategy. When you can't crush your opponent, you try to bring him in. According to that exclusive June Africa report, Biya's government offered Issa Chiroma Bakare the position of Prime Minister. Sounds like compromise on the surface, right? But analysts are saying this is really about neutralizing the opposition, making Biya's 8th term look legitimate, making sure nothing actually changes in Cameroon. The reported offer to Chiroma is pretty straightforward. Join Biya's government, take the Prime Minister job, walk away from this fight. And here's what makes it even more loaded. Chiroma was Biya's government spokesperson and minister for 20 years. He was basically doing what this Atanga Nji guy is currently doing. He was government spokesperson. That is why I say, mark this Nji, because tomorrow he might come out and say he wants to liberate Cameroon. Now, Chiroma himself was playing this role for 20 years before he resigned in June 2025 to run for president. He knows the system. He knows how it all works. The calculation might have been that he would have chosen power and comfort over principle and risk. What the government could get out of this is obvious. You offer Chiroma a role, you split the opposition, you crush the moray of protesters who have risked everything, and you make Biya look inclusive. The regime could say, look, we are working with the opposition, we are building unity. Meanwhile, the opposition candidate who said he won is sitting in cabinet meetings, rubber stamping Biya's decision. This isn't new. Kenya did a power sharing thing after a disputed election. Zimbabwe formed a government of national unity in 2009. But history shows that when you do power sharing under authoritarian systems, it usually just keeps things the same. co-opt the opposition voices, preserve the status quo. But what protesters are demanding, they don't want seats at Biya's table. They want Biya gone. People on social media are rejecting any compromise. They didn't vote for power sharing. They voted for change. The streets aren't asking for negotiation. They are asking for revolution. Chiroma reportedly turned down the offer, of course, according to this same June Africa report. And now, with the Constitutional Council officially declaring Paul Biya the winner, he's facing an even more impossible situation. International observers watched but didn't do much beyond concerned statements like the statement of the US congressman that I said earlier. Those are the kind of reactions you can expect from Western government, from these Western democracies. Just the basic condemnation, and they expect Cameroon to move on quickly. Now, the African Union Observer Mission praised the election. I'm not even surprised. They are saying it was conducted largely in accordance with regional, continental, and international standards, though they noted logistical and transparency challenges in parts of the country. What else do you expect from the African Union? Classic. But a coalition of 8 Cameroonian civil society organizations reported serious irregularities. Dead people still on voter rolls, unequal distribution of ballot papers, ballot box stuffing in some constituencies. Now, US lawmakers are expressing concern but no concrete action. The world watched Cameroon's election, watched the protest, watched people get killed in the street, and did little to stop what is happening. The stakes couldn't be higher because if Chiroma took an offer like that now, after everything, the whole movement will collapse. If he keeps refusing, he risks ending up like his detained allies. And the security situation is only going to get worse now that Paul Biya has been officially declared the winner. So while Cameroonians are processing this announcement, questions are everywhere. Will Chiroma accept some kind of deal now that he has officially lost, or is confrontation just going to explode? To understand why this moment matters so much, we have to go back to where it all started, October 12th, election day, when millions of Cameroonians showed up to vote, hoping maybe this time will be different. On October 12th, 2025, more than 8 million Cameroonians went to the polls for an election a lot of people thought was going to be just another formality. Another term for 92-year-old Paul, world's oldest president who has been running things for 43 years. But something unexpected changed. In the northern regions, in Douala, the economic capital, in neighborhoods all over the country, people weren't just going through the motions. They were voting with real hope for change. And the guy many of them chose, that was the surprise. Election day brought out more than 8 million eligible voters. Official turnout was 57.7%, according to the Constitutional Council announcement. Now, Biya is going for his 8th term after ruling since 1982. His challenger is Issa Chiroma Bakare, 76 years old. He's a former Paul Biya loyalist who have been government spokesperson for 2 decades. June 2025, Chiroma resigned from government and launched his presidential campaign with the Front for National Salvation of Cameroon. Now, his whole transformation from being Paul Biya's defender to challenging him is one of the biggest political shifts in Cameroon's recent history. But there is this crucial detail that shaped the whole election. Kamto, who came second in 2018 and said he was the real winner, got barred from the 2025 race by the Constitutional Council back in August. Kamto spent 9 months locked up after the 2018 election. Human Rights Watch called his exclusion a threat to electoral credibility. By kicking Kamto out, the government got rid of a serious opponent, left Chiroma as the main opposition guy. Chiroma ran a different kind of campaign. He apologized for denying the Anglophone crisis existed when he was government spokesperson, made resolving that conflict a campaign priority. He talked about regional marginalization, economic inequality. He spoke straight to the young voters who have never known another president. And that message seemed to land very well, especially up north. Now, the election day had this cautiously optimistic vibe among some voters. Strong turnout reported in the north. The government said more than 5,000 national and international observers were accredited to monitor the polls. Polls closed, counting started, but official results didn't come right away. Then on October 14, early morning, Chiroma posts a Facebook video declaring he won the election. Says it's based on what his team tallied from 80% of the polling stations. He got about 55% of the vote, calls on Biya to respect what people wanted. The video spreads fast all over Cameroon. The government response came quick. Minister Atanga Nji called it high treason, warned about criminal prosecution, because according to him, only the Constitutional Council can declare results. Any early announcement is illegal. Now, the ruling party officials dismissed Chiroma's claims as baseless and inflammatory. On October 20th, the National Commission hands in provisional result to the Constitutional Council. Local media at the time reported that the results show Biya with about 53 to 54%, Chiroma with about 35%. Then on October 27th, the Constitutional Council makes it official. Biya wins with 53.6%. Chiroma gets 35.1%. Now, the gap between what opposition supporters say they saw at polling stations and what the official numbers show, it's massive, showing Chiroma winning with over 50%. Official results showing Biya winning with 53.6%. Two completely different versions of what happened. Chiroma saying he won. Official results saying Biya is the winner. And millions of young Cameroonians asking which numbers actually reflect what went down. That question lit the fuse on this protest. It came before the internet disruptions. It came before the first casualty and came way before the 30 opposition leaders got arrested. And now, the Constitutional Council officially declaring Biya the winner. That question is not going away. It's getting louder. October 27th, 2025, the Constitutional Council just made it official. President of the council stood up in Yaoundé and announced, candidate Biya is hereby declared elected president of the Republic, having obtained the majority of votes cast. Biya got 53.6%. At least this is manageable compared to what happened in Ivory Coast with Alassane Ouattara having more than 80% of the vote. At least Cameroon is making progress. But I'm not saying this. Pardon me if I sound like I am joking. I am not joking. This is not a joking matter. It's actually a serious matter. I'm just trying to paint you the picture of what is happening in Africa. And just like that, Biya got his 8th term. He's going to keep ruling, potentially into over 100 years of age. But here's the reality. The Constitutional Council isn't independent. It is stacked with people aligned with the ruling party who have never ruled against Biya in 43 years, not once. So nobody is surprised by this outcome. What people are asking now is, what happens next? You have a country where at least 5 people are already dead from protest, where 30 opposition leaders are locked up, where the internet is being disrupted, where a teacher got shot walking home from work. And now the government is saying Biya won fair and square with 53.6%. Chiroma is not backing down, at least not yet. After the announcement, he is still on social media accusing security forces of shooting civilians. Kill me if you want, he wrote on X, but I will liberate this country by any means necessary. Those aren't the words of someone who is going to accept this quietly. Despite widespread frustration among young voters and calls for political renewal, Biya's Cameroon People's Democratic Movement maintains a firm grip on power through a network of loyal governors, regional administrators, and security forces. One political scientist in Yaoundé put it like this: Biya remains a master of political survival. But this election also shows that public patience is wearing thin, especially among younger Cameroonians who feel excluded from political and economic life. Now, when you look beyond Cameroon, the regional implications are also serious. If this unrest keeps growing, you could see refugee flows into Nigeria and Chad. Instability in Cameroon could mess up a whole region that is already dealing with enough problems. This moment is part of something bigger happening across the continent. Senegal had major youth-led protests in 2024. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger went through military takeovers, rejecting how things used to be done. Young Africans all over are demanding change, connected through smartphones and social media. refusing to accept the old ways. This isn't just about Cameroon anymore. It's about whether aging leaders can hold onto control when their young populations who grew up connected to the world are demanding accountability and change. It's about whether constitutional councils and election observers matter when people say they saw something completely different at the polls. Now, beyond politics, economic risks are piling up. About 40% of Cameroonians are living in poverty, a number that has basically stayed the same for 2 decades. Youth unemployment is a crisis. You have educated graduates who can't find work. Foreign investment could take a hit from all this instability. And under everything is the Anglophone crisis, because over 500,000 people are already displaced. Thousands are already killed in a separatist conflict that has been going on since 2016. Biya's government has been criticized for its handling of this crisis. That unresolved mess just adds more fuel to an already explosive situation. Deep divisions running through Cameroon, north versus south regional tensions, far north with poverty rates over 60% feeling abandoned, youth demanding generational change after only knowing one president their whole lives, civil society organizations reporting irregularities, dead people on voter rolls, unequal ballot distribution, ballot box stuffing, and the bigger question that is going to define not just Cameroon, but a lot of Africa. Are these countries going to turn the page on decades-long rule, or are the same old patterns just going to keep going? So here we are, a 92-year-old Biya, who has been in power since 1982, just got declared the winner of an 8th term. A 76-year-old former loyalist, backed by young people who have never known another president, is calling it fraud and vowing to keep fighting. A government willing to use deadly force on protesters versus people flooding the street despite the risk. The official announcement has been made, but whether this brings some kind of resolution or makes this crisis explode even more, we are about to find out. Analysts are saying this election underscores both Biya's enduring political machinery and the weakness of the opposition, fragmented across ideological and regional lines. As the dust settles, many in Cameroon are left questioning whether this election marks continuity or crisis, and whether the aging leader can still steer the Central African nation through its deepening challenges. Now, if you have watched to this point, this is Frontline Africa, where we talk about geopolitics from Africa's own point of view, where we bring you the stories with the details mainstream media does everything to avoid. Now, there is currently internet blackout in Cameroon, and as I speak to you now, a lot is happening, and I'm keeping my eyes on Ivory Coast. I don't really expect much from Ivorians. Apparently, Ouattara played a fast one on them, and I believe things might just quiet down over there in Ivory Coast. And for Cameroon, the youth are not going to back down. They will still keep fighting. They will keep fighting until there is a resolution. And there is this thing that happened in Madagascar. Even after 22 people were killed by government forces, they kept on. And today, there is a change. But whether the change brings the kind of change they actually want for their country, that is what this channel will keep monitoring. I will be sure to bring you the latest update, the stories that matter, whether it is in Madagascar, in Ivory Coast, or Cameroon. These are the key flashpoints that we are currently monitoring. And if you are in Cameroon and you have access to the internet, drop a comment and tell us the reality on ground, because the internet has restricted our access to everything that is happening, but we are trying our best to still get in and see what is going on and tell it to the rest of the world. Now, if you still have access in Cameroon, tell us in the comment section what is happening. Is there hope? Is there a way that Biya can just get gone? These are the things that we are desperate to see happen for Cameroon. If you want to see more of my content, maybe consider to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of my content. I am your host, Ezekiel Enejeta, and I will see you in the next one. It's a bye-bye for now.